Who wants to recap last session for inspiration? Wow. Okay.
Okay, here we go. I'm trying to remember because I remember how it started, but it's later in the session that I, as per usual, sort of fall off in being able to remember.
I think it's a
We
group effort.
Group effort.
we started in the Watcher estate with God, did I even write down her name? Let me get to my notes.
Stella.
Stella, thank you.
Oh my
Mhm.
god, Adam remembered her name.
And the correct pronunciation though.
Well, because literally every time it comes up in my head, I go, Stella!
Valid. Um
I'll just start doing classic character names for everything for you.
we started off with Stella. We went into the sort of hidden antechamber, the hidden room past the office full of cats. And inside we found a coffer containing a lot of paperwork. Mostly, there was some coin, which I did not think to write down. I should probably do that at some point. But more importantly, we found deeds to some lands within Barovia, and far more crucially than even that was a manifesto written by Fiona Watcher about how great it is to be on the good terms with demons and how that can bring you happiness and joy and put you at the top of the pyramid scheme. Um,
Worked for her, kind of.
yeah, kind of, except for the part where she's dead now.
Yeah, she
Until
got
she met
hammered.
us. Ah!
There was also a
Everything okay?
Yeah, I just squirted lemon juice everywhere.
there were also a couple other infernal things. A treatise by a guy who somehow survived being drawn and quartered. Um, and
Not half the man he used to be.
yeah, not
God bless you, Tyler.
we tried to present these to we went to present them to the Burgermeister and bumped into him and a bunch of guards. No, I take that. No, yeah, that was when we were doing this. Bumped into the Burgermeister and a bunch of guards who had come to claim everything in the Watcher estate and arrest the remaining Watcher children. There was a disagreement, we'll say, over whether he would be allowed to arrest Stella, and there was even a brief fight about it in which Victor murked his own father and a couple of guards with some pretty gross looking magic, which I assume was uh, something he learned while trying to escape this place. We took Stella and Victor to the church, and on the way, um, co-opted the other two Watcher children from some guards. Had a conversation at the church that basically boiled down to, "Hey, the Baron is dead. What now?" with the father, and there is going to be some sort of uh, look into either who is next in line or um, I don't know about free democratic elections or whatnot, but something that most likely does not include us, because if we are smart, we are hightailing it out of this city shortly.
Well, we actually know what's coming next. Right? We resolved that at the end of the session because
Did we?
we went to the Burgermeister's house. Victor was there. He was upstairs in the attic going through some stuff,
Yep.
right? And determined that he was, in fact, next in line. He was going to be in charge, but he could
Abdicate.
abdicate to another family. It was Zeldrin's suggestion that, hey, the Watcher family is another noble family in town. And Victor was more than happy to hand that over. We went to go talk to the Watchers about it. They were disavowing their mother's beliefs when we got there. They seemed amicable to the idea. We arranged a meeting,
it.
right? After punching Victor in the face for what he did to Stella, which we also
Yeah,
uncovered.
we also.
The reins were handed over. There's new rulers that have disavowed sort of both families at this point. And I believe we're still in town, but ready to head out with Victor in tow.
Yep. Yeah. I had forgotten that we went back to the Watchers
Mhm.
because I don't know. I was thinking that like we just exposed the Watcher family, then for us to be like, no, it's totally cool if they're the leaders. That seems a little strange. I'd forgotten the disavowing, so that makes sense. But yeah, then Victor does not want to stay here. Stella hates him. Like tried to claw his eyes
Right,
out.
with good reason.
Yep. And poor Blakesy is okay. That's the most important thing.
Thank God.
He's gonna need some time to recover, and hopefully Barovia has a good therapy system, but
Yeah,
spoiler alert, it doesn't. Because if it
It's-
did, people wouldn't be selling their children to hags.
No,
so
it doesn't, because it's all based on puppet therapy, and they're the fucking puppets that Blinksy makes. All nightmare inducing.
Does anyone happen to remember what happened as you were headed out of town? Batavio, the fellow in yellow, as I described him last time,
Oh, that's right.
chased you down. And
he had been following us. No, wait, no. That was someone else.
he'd been trying to track you down all day, is what he said. To be fair, you guys did a lot of literal back and forth between two major estates in the city, and he just had bad luck trying to catch you the whole time. But he did find you. He did start by asking you about the vampires that were in Valaki, and that you had slain all of them. And upon the confirmation of such, and after a little, like,
Well, we didn't slay all of them because what's her face got away.
yeah,
Wait, no,
yeah,
I have her name. I know I have this name.
you do. I know you do.
Valenta.
Hmm.
Not Vasily, which is the name I was given first.
Yes, which, if you
Valenta
remember,
Popolski.
which is
Yep.
also the name that was given the sign, I believe, the signed name on that letter in the Watcher house, if you recall that, in that secret room.
Yes, the Lord Vasily von Holtz was the one who sent the letter to Lavina Watcher.
Mhm.
Watcher or Wachter?
Watcher.
Watcher. Okay.
It was probably
Yeah.
Wachter before they emigrated, but then they Barovianized it to Watcher.
I did actually consider having it be Watcher because it's the correct pronunciation, but Watcher House was such a cool title to me that I couldn't really let it go. um,
And then that also led to us, having the whole, Miss Watcher. Is that like a title?
yes, yeah, like it had some
The
cool
Watchers.
English connotations. Once I unfortunately butchered its Germanic, but it's okay. But if you recall, Rokea kind of jokingly snapped, or no, I think Arium snapped his teeth at Rictavio, who drew a sword, and
Definitely do not remember.
um, and at the retraction, he bid you all follow. It is up to you whether or not you do so, but he has asked that you follow him somewhere.
Sure, why not? What do you think?
I mean,
Brothers, son, brothers, star.
I have a
The
Wow, my
brothers.
brain just shorted out. What is your last name? What is your guys' last name again?
we're the Sunstrider brothers.
Sunstrider. Okay.
This one.
You know, I can't really see how this day could get much worse. So, yeah, I guess follow we will.
Oh, Zezarek, don't tempt fate.
Well, I guess it's a little too late for that now. So, may as well
I
follow.
like it a lot. I like it a lot. All right. All right, troublemakers. You can. Octavio is walking fairly sharp, briskly. He is using this cane that he's walking with, but just with the momentum of his speed, does not seem to be relying upon it. You also, uh, uh, Zeldrin with a higher passive insight, are able to notice that he is just so every few paces, tilting his head just a little bit to try to catch, probably making sure you guys are following him, just out of the corner of his eye, making sure you are in step behind him. But he moves faster than the four of you. Victor is not going to be left alone out in the streets. In daylight. Rictavio takes you back to the Blue Water Inn. The tavern keepers, Erwin and his wife, wave to the five of you gentlemen as you come in. Rictavio nods and then heads upstairs to his own room, which is the same size as everyone else's that you've all been in. He has sitting out on his desk several journals. The bed appears to have been like made, but this room looks used. There are some clothes and other things like around. Um, he goes to sit himself at the chair at the desk and then gestures, "Please make yourselves comfortable. This might take a little bit of time."
What is this?
I have some inquiries, uh, as well as some explanations.
Very well.
Eager for the latter, do our best to help with the former.
as you all sit yourselves around, Rictavio says, I have been here now for several months. I came here, as you may know, with a monkey I have gifted away. We spoke about this. As well as a bigger animal that is being kept here in Vallaki. I am looking for something here, and I have been for a very long time. He takes off his glasses, and behind these kind of dirty lenses, you see a very weathered expression, and someone whose eyes are soft with exhaustion. My name is not as I've said. My name is Rudolph, and I come from Faerun. Rudolph van Richten. A very long time ago, my wife and child were killed by vampires in front of me. And I barely made it out of my life. And have since devoted my life, career, personal time, all of it, and his hand falls onto one of his journals, to discovering the lairs and holding places of greater vampiric forces. I've had some luck in Faerun, but when I heard about a place from the Vistani that was the home, an extraplanar home of one such force, I knew it was a responsibility of mine or somebody's, but to make sure that this creature was eradicated. I, however, until recently, frankly, until you arrived, was under the assumption that the Vistani were entirely under his thumb. And the other beast I've brought with me, I had intended on utilizing against them, weakening their forces. Perhaps pulling Strad von Zarovich from his castle. But I've been listening and hearing about you three. And you. And he points at Victor. And I think that I might be misguided, at least in that attempt. If I were to point fingers at the camp of Vistani outside of Vallaki, I can't pretend that it would be safe for those who are innocent or guiltless. You all have a pretty good idea, I think, of how to extricate deliberate evils, it would appear, with, I'll say a surprising amount of delicacy. So my questions are, have you been to Castle Ravenloft?
We have not been so lucky.
You have my sympathies for the loss of your family. Um, I, as Zeldrin said, we have not been to Castle Ravenloft, but we do have one friend who I believe may have been in contact with Strahd. Well, I say contact, may have been preyed upon. Am I misremembering? Isn't that
Preyed upon, yeah.
if you don't mind my asking, how is it you made it into this realm? It does not seem like you would have trusted the Vistani to bring you here. Without them, I don't think we would have been trapped here. So,
When my son Erasmus was killed, he had been kidnapped by Vistani. Not the same ones of Barovia, but another nomadic clan. When he was brought to the Baron, who kept him as a companion for some time, I spent a long time seeding out what people, what folks, what creatures could lead me first to the Baron's land, and then second, when I caught wind of Barovia, to Barovia. The Vistani think that I'm a carnival man, performer. I'm a doctor, actually. Turns out I'm fairly good at pretending. But I did trust Vistani to take me to Barovia, and as soon as I was able to depart and find some safer lodgings, I'm here temporarily.
how is it exactly you intend to return? You do intend to return to Faerun?
I hope to. But the Myers of the Baron Matus's realm were only fully unwound on his death. So, it stands to reason, if the master of this realm is Count Strahd von Zarovich, then a stake through his heart means that the fogs will lift, this place will return to where it belongs in Faerun, and the people will be allowed to leave.
I see, and you don't believe that this is a thing that can be accomplished by the Count should he desire it. The one who the Vistani who brought us here seemed to be under some impression that we may be able to return the Count to his senses, as it were, to undo some of this rabid thirst that seems to have taken him. I confess I'm not entirely believing of the idea, given the things that we have seen in this land and the length of time that it seems to have languished under his rule. under his cruelty, at least.
In my time here, I've learned that Zarovich takes time to hibernate. Sort of. He'll remain in Ravenloft for long periods of time, possibly even resting within his own coffin, bed, whatever the hell they want to deem it. The other vampires here have shorter, more intense bursts of power that need to rejuvenate more frequently, but for shorter periods of time. And in that hibernation that Strahd takes, the fog stays. If he were to revert, which I do not think is something that can happen, then he would then have to be persuaded to remove the fog. And even in full power, even in dormancy, there is no escape. Unless you are one of his chosen. The Vistani may come and go. For all I know, the vampires can come and go. I don't think they want to, or he won't let them. Makes them think they shouldn't. You mentioned Volenta. Is she the only one of his wives you've met?
I was unaware they were married, so I'm afraid I cannot answer that question.
As far as I've understood it, she's one of the newer converts. He puts two fingers up in quotes. He has two wives preceding her and then a husband younger as well. All of this besides his one elven companion. I've not met him, but some passing conversation I've had with the Dusk Elves, the names come up.
We have met Rahadin. He was personable, if not entirely cold.
Interesting. He opens one of his books and jots down a note. Whatever happens, whatever is the mechanism that keeps this place caged, as much as I want to relieve that pressure, free these people, I will be honest that the first and foremost thing I want to do is rid Barovia of its vampiric plague. If this place remains stuck here for eternity, that would suck. But I have a priority. But at least it sounds like our intentions align somewhat. If you can unravel some way of freeing the Count from his curse, and in turn that unbinds all of his spouses, his offspring, his compatriots in darkness, whatever you want to call it. I would happily offer whatever services I can.
At the very least, your medical services would be very, very welcome. We have certainly had some issues with that.
I have some other abilities as well. I'm a doctor, but I've spent a lot of time in this particular field, and tricks of the trade, well, become necessary for survival. You have a plan at all?
Honestly, right now we have simply been trying to find this Madam Ava in the hopes that she can explain to us exactly why we have been brought here. Or exactly what it is she expects us to do and how. I doubt that it will be as cut and dry as any of us would have liked. Um, but that has been our destination since we have arrived here. I will not speak for my two traveling companions, but I am um, rather uh, I would rather return to Faerun than stay here.
In the end, I would certainly hope to return, but I am driven to eliminate this creature that runs this place. Though it may seem, we cannot do one without the other.
Yes, well, I too am driven to relieve the good people of Barovia from this unfortunate plight that they find themselves in. I hold out more hope than my brother here that a solution can be reached which does not require Zarvech's elimination. However, I held out a similar hope for Valaki here, and we see how that worked out. I am curious. You speak of another beast that you brought with you to help weaken the vampire threat. I assume you are not talking about Piccolo.
No. Piccolo was initially just part of the disguise I donned for passage with the Vistani. The other beast is may not have ever seen one. It's a big cat. It's orange with black stripes. It's called a tiger.
Hmm.
Not particularly well trained, in fact. I pride myself in being able to concoct some patience and planning, but as far as utilizing the tiger, just kind of gonna let him go free in the camp, see what happened. But that was just sort of a resource limited solution. One of the reasons I haven't done it yet, honestly, a half baked plan, if you ask me.
I'm sorry, I just need to confirm. This dude's rolling around with an untrained tiger.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, I must say, what I dislike in terms of planning, I like a great deal in terms of confidence. Just let this wild beast loosed in the camp and see what happens. Uh, le tigre, brother. Have we seen a le tigre?
I do not believe so. Don't guess they're coastal creatures.
Ah, deep jungle beasts.
Ariam, have you spent much time in the deep jungle?
While I have not, there are those in the order who can change into such a beast.
Hmm. Well, I guess I just haven't had
Are you
opportunity to see that yet.
are you members of the Keepers of the Feather? He sort of leans forward, like pointedly.
Um, I am a member, and my friends here are assistants, not assistants, allies is the word I'm looking for. Allies to the Order of the Crescent Moon from Faerun.
Hmm. Scribble something else down in his
Is that
book.
In fact, should you make it back to Faerun, you should probably look them up. I think y'all might get along swimmingly.
Wanna lay
I
down?
most certainly will. I will say, your little game you had with the Mardukov boys the other day. I was brought to this inn as it is one of the more popular locales, but there was something very interesting about the family. Been trying to gain more information about this guild of theirs for a little while, and knowing that there's something a little more supernatural about them, uh, thanks to you. He nods at you, Zazarak. Lends me some confidence. I know not all lycanthropes in this area can be trusted, and I'm trying to stay in their good graces for more than just the sake of this room being so affordable.
Hmm. Well, I would recommend that you cease your investigation into the Mardikovs or the Order of the Feather and just enjoy the fact that you find yourself in their good graces. They are good people, just trying to get by and don't need to be a part of any larger plan. You need to free Barovia. They having a hard enough time keeping this inn open and raising their children.
Hmm. I will take that to heart.
I'm curious. You had mentioned also. Well, thank you first and foremost. But you had also mentioned that these other vampires in Barovia that they um, don't rest for as long as Zarovich does. Is that correct? Am I remembering that correctly?
As far as I've been able to see, any of them typically. All right. Well, let me back up.
Yeah.
Barovia is kept in a fog. That's very much understood. But it's not just a wall around the mountains and the valley, it's also the sky. All of that mist, it's everywhere. And it means that many of the predators, the vampires here, have more freedom than a vampire in Faerun would have. In Faerun, sunlight, direct sunlight, is toxic to their flesh, but that is not the case here. They are protected. I think it's one of the reasons that some holy grounds to the Dawnfather have been such powerful sanctuaries against them. It's one of the few places where true light can maintain itself. That said, vampires who do not rest need to feed more frequently. They still burn something as far as energy goes. They still need the same things that all predators need, which is food and sleep, and they need to balance that in some way. Lesser vampires have the ability to feed less frequently, sleep less in shorter periods. Feed more frequently in shorter spans, rest once a day, perhaps, maybe once every couple of days, and move freely. Strahd. Strahd will feast on blood. Take out a household or more of individuals at a time. And then not be seen for weeks. And it is possible that in that time he is recuperating, or even perhaps it is the case in his rest he has the best fortitude for maintaining the sanctuary of his realm. But it is a bloodbath when Strahd leaves Ravenloft. It is not the loss of a life or two. It is a family tree cut. That makes sense.
You mentioned vampires of this realm having a less of a concern from sunlight. Is that just because there is less sunlight, or is I mean to ask, if I were to summon true sunlight, would that be as effective as I'd expect it to be, or do they have some kind of unusual resilience?
I think that would greatly depend on the manner of sunlight. You can hold the light of a sun in the palm of your hand with magic. That alone, I do not think would be sufficient.
Mhm. But if I could summon the searing radiance of the dawn, would that be a different story?
Perhaps it's not something I have ever had the opportunity to see.
Well, stick with us too much and you might have that curiosity quenched.
I would love to.
Among these lesser vampires you were speaking of, are there any rivalries of which you are aware?
He flips through a couple pages of his book, squints his eyes. Remember, he took his glasses off, puts his glasses back on, squints through the dirty lenses, cleans his lenses, and reads. And he says, I heard tell of the youngest of Strahd's spouses, his husband. He wanders more frequently. I haven't yet encountered him personally, but if I were to hazard a guess, I would think he would find himself in a rather delicate position, possibly considering himself disposable.
Hmm.
Might
And
be
what is
desperate.
his name?
It is. It's in here 1 second.
Yeah, no worries. You can also just, I'll fill you in later.
Uh-huh. Oh, it's so rude. They didn't put him under the Strahd's Brides chapter of
Boo.
the Boo. Oh, fuck. I will find it and he will give you the name.
Okay. Well, it seems that maybe a weak point that we could potentially exploit if necessary.
I agree. Do you have any other questions for him?
Fuji Taylor, that yellow suit is something to behold.
Oh. He reaches up to his head and goes to doff a cap. And when he does so, a hat that you did not see comes away in his hand, and a facade fades in the place of this person that you saw in the yellow suit is a skinnier, sadder looking older man um, with darker clothes, mostly bundled up for the warmth, but partially hiding some of his features, gloves on his hands, and worn pants. He holds the hat in his hands. A trick, unfortunately.
Well, a lovely trick it is, and it is a pleasure to actually meet you face to face. And I'll extend my hand.
He shakes your hand, and even though you can feel a strong grip, there is a bit of a shake and a tremble in it.
Well, this is all very useful information. I don't know if there's any immediate action that this necessitates. Arian? Zeldrin? Do you feel this requires a particular course of action, or?
I mean, no, not particularly. I feel as though we are still on the same course, as it were. While this information is certainly useful, there is no way to particularly act on it at the moment. We need to, I mean, unless we are interested in walking straight into Castle Ravenloft right now, which I feel as though we may have recently attained the level that we are supposed to be when this is a thing that we do. But unless we are intending to walk straight into Strahd's castle right now, I don't see as how our plan has otherwise changed. We find this Madame Ava, we learn what it is that she has foreseen, which caused her band to, well, I won't say abduct us, but um, to lure us here into Barovia. There is, as far as I can see, still no other avenue of pursuit. Unless there's something I'm missing.
No, I think it is good to have the information, but I think we continue on our path of gaining knowledge before we storm the castle, so to say.
Well, Rictavio, thank you for finding us and revealing your true purpose here in town, and sharing with us the information which you have learned. I believe we will make fine allies. Um, as Ariam has pointed out, we will be leaving soon in search of Madame Ava to try and gather yet more information. And as such, I imagine communication will be a little bit more difficult between us, but we will do the best we can to inform you of any new discoveries or developments that we find along the way.
He nods, puts the cap back on, and I am sorry to share this with you now, but at the time of my son's death, the Vistani who took took Erasmus from me did, unfortunately, put upon me a curse, which I only say because I will join you at any castle storming there may be attempted, but in the meantime, I will keep my distance from you, as so far everyone I have ever since allied with has befallen terrible tragedy, and I would prefer to keep that pool of folks to a small one if I can.
Well, in my case, Rictavio, I have, perhaps it is the case that I have already befallen that horrible tragedy, and so you and I, we may be in the clear.
Gives you a understanding, sad smile. Shakes your hand.
Have you made any efforts to have this curse removed?
It has not been one that I have managed to, and that happens to be a field of study that I have had some experience in.
Well, I am sorry to hear that, and I hope that we are able to buck that trend.
Bless you all. Remain safe. We'll speak soon.
You stay safe as well. Hopefully, we can find something that is useful to your endeavors.
All right. With that, you dismiss yourselves and find yourselves in the halls of the Blue Water Inn with Victor.
Well, gentlemen, do we want to make our way now, or what time is it?
I believe it is like mid-afternoon, since most of your day got caught up in town walking and bureaucracy.
Well, perhaps get ourselves a room for the night and head out first thing in the morning. Victor, would you be comfortable with that?
As long as I am not going back to my own house, I think.
Well, I imagine that would be quite a bad idea.
I think so.
Zelly, Ariam, what say you? Take the afternoon off, relax a little. Uh,
Then in the morning, make like villains from the old serial Gunsmoke and get the hell out of Dodge.
I, I do very much like those astral stories. Thank you for bringing them back up again. Been a
Is this
while.
an elven thing I do not understand?
If it is, I don't know it either.
Well, one day we'll maybe compile information about all of these stories and when and how they're best told into some sort of guide.
Perhaps develop some kind of visual media to
Mm,
impart said stories.
yeah, wonderful. Uh, uh, are we comfortable leaving our arena with the church? There, I seem
She's
I seem to have lost a plot on that. Do we need to close any loops there?
pretty sure she's back here.
Yeah, she's staying here at the inn since Isaac was killed.
Oh, gotcha. But do we need to figure out what it is that she wants to do? Is she comfortable staying here now that the entire government has changed over?
Well, I suppose there's only one way to find out. We could simply ask her.
Oh shit, Irina! I didn't.
Hey, uh,
I'm, I apologize. I did not realize that you were down here as well. We're so wrapped up in our goings on. How are you?
but it is good here. Well, it is different. Nice though. I've been well. I've heard that there has been a lot of things happening in the last few days.
Oh yes, things in Valakia have been well quite fluid, but we think
Yes.
that we have assisted in bringing about a new and more reasonable stability to the town. Um, you probably aware that your tormentor Isaac is gone now for good. What you may not be aware of, but will be soon, should you choose to say, is that his employer, the Burgermeister, has also been dispatched, and there will be new leadership taking over the town. So I imagine that the gossip mill will be buzzing, and with any luck, new excitement will grip this town at the possibilities for the future. Have you given any thought to your future?
Yes, and I think that it is. I have been told that there are, and you've said that there are fortune tellers, and I think that it might be in my own interest, maybe, to seek some out for some guidance. I
Mm.
think if I were to stay in Valaki, I am without family here. I am with little resource. I came here so that I would not be so close to Ravenloft, but I understand that there was a very large amount of vampires within the city, which does not make me feel very safe. Did you know that you three, um, they're calling you and a the Knight's Bane? You three, the people in the city, you have gained some notoriety.
That's splendid.
Yes, it is a bit embarrassing. We will hoping to remain uh, undercover, so to speak. But
I will admit, when some of the stories of things you had been doing in Valaki were spoken of, I couldn't help but share what you had done for me in Barovia.
mm, well, um, that is your story, and you are free to tell it as you like to whom you like. Mm. Well, I do believe that the Knight's Bane will be taking leave of Valaki in the morning. And those of you that wish to accompany us are more than welcome. But for the rest of the afternoon, I believe this member of Knight's Bane, at least, will try and take it easy and reflect on what we have done here.
She smiles to you and seems to notice Victor for the first time. And who is this?
Victor, for fuck's sake, man, Blake, you're so goddamn creepy. And I
uh,
mean, you know, I say this with love. We're trying to help, but god damn.
almost like as you've called him by name, he does just blink once. um, uh, And then
exactly once.
Right.
yeah.
Somehow that's worse, Victor.
Dare.
Jesus.
He does introduce himself with like the noble like kiss on the hand, which isn't weird, except it is Victor, so it's a little weird. Um,
That's too
uh,
long, Victor. Come on.
yeah, she takes her hand back. Still smiling politely, but just sticks her hand into her cloak pockets. um, uh, but she is on her way down for dinner, so she will go downstairs.
Also, I've now just decided in this moment, I love Victor. I've done a 180 on Victor. I love that creepy bastard.
I love watching you ballet dance with this guy
Right.
and how you feel about
Like, I don't know what this says about me, but somehow the worse I make him in my head, the more I'm like, he's all right. He's just trying. And it's all like my own fiction. So it's
it.
ridiculous.
You're doing.
Right. Preposterous.
Zeldrin and Arium, what would you like to do with your evening?
I mean, I will likewise get some rest and some calm.
Anyone you want to hang out with or chill out with?
I think I will head back to the church and see if I can speak with Father Lucian. I am not going to ask for a 500 gold reliquary, but I am interested in trying to get a hold of a sunburst pendant worth at least 100 gold.
Okay. Okay. Is anyone interested in going with Zeldrin?
Absolutely.
I will also mention I have no money, so
Okay.
I'm not trying to buy.
We did just find a bunch of money that we basically stole from the Watchers.
Did someone?
180 EP and 110 gold pieces.
Okay.
All of the Electrum has the face of Strahd on it.
All the coins actually do, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Gotcha. I will try to get 100 gold sunburst pendant. I need that to cast the dawn spell.
Mm-hmm. Uh.
I don't think we ever divvied it up, so it's all in one bag that we can just hand right to you. Sunlight in the world of empires sounds like a worthy cause of money for me.
Yes, I'm hoping that this Dawn Father, with his sun motifs, there might be a pendant of sorts that I can use to channel the dawn.
Yeah, Lucian, in that same place that he had kept the reliquary of St. Andrew's bones, had a couple of other artifacts as well. Most of them looked not so expensive. In fact, this one that he gives to you is in fact made of wood, but is the same like ray of light and dawn that is the sigil in the stained glass that will, with you expending the coin, this will count for your item. But it is carved of like a dark cherry wood and looks, for that matter, quite old, since it would not have been a tree native to this land.
Thank you very much for your assistance. I hope that this will come of great use. I feel in our adventures it will undoubtedly become necessary to summon the wrath that the dawn brings with it.
whatever I can do to aid heroes of Vallaki.
Thank you.
There is one further thing, Father, if I could impose upon a moment of your time. There,
Of course.
the children that we have rescued from the old, oh god, the old bone grinder, the old, um, it would seem that Rokea has made contact with their mother, and I um would like you to make sure that under no circumstances are they to be returned to her until you, in your judgment, believe that she is unlikely to sell them again to the hags in the bone grinder. Not unlikely, no, that she would never do that. And if there is even the faintest bit of doubt in your mind, um, their safety should be paramount over her desires. However, I would. It was, I believe, Rokea's intention to, I don't know, perhaps try to intimidate or startle her, but I think it is perhaps best um, if there is to be some sort of reconciliation, some sort of understanding on her part, perhaps a gentler approach than Rokea intended.
He nods with sage solemnity. The
Uh,
children are considered, for the time being, orphans, and, for that matter, protected by the church.
Excellent. Before the sun sets, I would like to bring her here, not to speak to the children, but to know that they are again safe. I would like to keep her at a distance from them. I don't want. Um, I do not wish for her presence to upset them or anything along those lines. But if it seems a worthy start to this attempt.
I may speak with her if that would be preference. If you would like to yourself, I trust your ability. But this is a matter that I can handle without without your presence, if you would prefer.
Yes, perhaps that's best then. If I leave it to you, I am not exactly the best at this sort of thing. So it's but it was important enough to Rokea and important enough to me that um, that's one who would sell their children in to, I suppose, the pantry of a hag be found. I will I will leave you to it then.
He nods. Thanks you. That way we don't have to role play that because I feel like that would be very bad.
Very bad and awkward. Yeah, yeah. I was just gonna be like, and then that happens.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I don't need to go drag a depressed depressed parent here and be like, hey, we saved your kids. Um, but Rokea tracked her down, so
Yeah.
I'm just gonna let it go. Now I'm just gonna let it go. Washing my hands of that, dusting them off. All right. Well, Zeldrin, who's ready to get shit faced? Me? Me. All right, let's go.
Fantastic.
Okay. That evening at the inn, do you guys do anything else besides unwind?
No, Victor, when you just smile with your mouth like that, it looks terrifying. You smile as much with the eyes as you do with the mouth. No, now you're just squinting, Victor.
What? I don't understand what you could possibly. Your teeth smile, not your eyes.
Dude, are you a vampire? Are you trying to show me your fangs? Victor, look kind. You're happy to see somebody. Look, it's Ariam and Zeldrin. You're happy to see them. Show that with your face.
Hello, friends.
I will return a very sharp-toothed, definitely uncomfortable.
Oh,
sharp
for
man
fuck's
smile.
sake! I'll just get drinks for everybody. This isn't gonna work at all.
Victor, what's wrong, friend? You seem distressed.
It hurts my face. The cheeks, they don't move. I'm pretty sure that he is making it up. This is not how your face should be. This is the face my mother makes.
Ouch. Victor, I believe the word you're looking for is touche.
Okay. And just giving you the opportunity, if you want, anyone who is at the inn you'd like to look for, or any socializing plans or things you want to discuss now, you have the time.
Yeah, I mean, I think just hanging out, relaxing, catching up with what are their names? The Mardikovs? The Mardikov family, and letting them know how thankful we are. Giving the kids the business a little bit for fucking with me.
They are so proud of themselves. Their
I
mom
bet
is
they are.
very disappointed.
Yeah.
Rudolph is staying here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go find him.
Yeah, usually he spends the evenings socializing, but after speaking with you guys, he's remained in his room. You can go find him though.
It occurs to me that there is someone else you may wish to speak to. While we were on our way to complete another task, we ran into a knight who claimed to be from an order he called the Order of the Silver Dragon.
Argynvostholt.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, you already are aware of them. Excellent. What can you tell me about them, as other than the knight we met, who I was convinced that Argynvostholt was his name, but or Vladimir Horngard, but it seems that perhaps neither of those things were true, and we never learned this individual's name. I say individual as though he was still alive, but I believe we were warned that there may be something a little off about this person.
I've seen the corpses walking around a few times. Every single one of them speaks with the same voice, saying that they're looking for someone to help redeem their head of their order. Almost every time, whenever they're killed, they inhabit a new body, always one of their order. They're all dead, as far as I've seen. Every single one of them, every member of the Order of the Silver Dragon appears to have died a very, very long time ago.
Well, that's not strange at all. That's certainly nothing to be concerned about at all, I don't think. Even a little bit.
I mean, they're definitely on my watch list, just not on my to-do list, if that makes sense.
Marginally. All right, well, I just wanted to I just wanted to make sure you were aware of their existence, and it seems you are.
If you'd like, you can make me either a nature or arcana check.
I am trained in both of those as of this level, so I will roll my
Ooh,
newfound nature skill.
excellent. What's your roll?
22.
Excellent. The
And if this is about the laundry list of weird monster types.
it is actually undead, so you can roll with advantage.
Ah. 25.
All right. So what Rudolph just described, possessing a corpse, is a very unique form of undead ritual, not ritual, process. It's exclusively with a 25, exclusively towards souls who have unfinished business, but it's always with vengeance. It isn't the case with like a ghost where killed in a terrible passion need something to resolve their like their existence so that they can proceed on. These creatures are choosing to remain on this plane in spiritual form so they can complete a specific task. Usually it is a vengeful one. These are revenants. And revenants specifically can only possess a dead body.
The entire order of revenants. That probably should concern me a lot more than it. It just feels like that will become a significant problem.
Well, I've only been stabbed by them once, so as far as I'm concerned, not the worst. But also not good, that's for sure.
Right. Well, I appreciate the extra information about them. I will be sure to pass this on to the Sunstrata brothers and keep you apprised of anything that we might find while we are on our travels.
Excellent. And remember, keep a distance. Don't want to, he wiggles his fingers.
I will wiggle my fingers and close the door.
All right. Anything else for you guys for the night? All right. Then you guys can stay up quite late since you guys only rest half a night. Irina and Victor go to their own rooms, and you guys can get a full rest in for whatever that might mean for you. Get up in the morning, prepared to head out of town. Does that sound right?
Yep.
Yeah, that is the plan.
Okay. And we'll take our 15-minute break. And back to Barovia. We have the three of you rising from your trance in morning light, Victor and Irina, as prepared as two noble folk who have never left their city for long periods of time could possibly be. Um, Victor is not entirely unprepared. He has a bag with some equipment, his spell book, and such with him. Irina still has her satchel with no rations and no formal supplies, but is prepared to go whenever you all are.
All right, Floof. Let's do we want to get any supplies before we head out of town? I know we've got a little bit of coin.
Well, I've obtained the pendant I was needing. I can't think of anything else. I mean, we have rations and
Well, we've got rations. I don't know, Victor, Irina, do you have rations with you? Do it. Also, should we get a tent for these two?
That
Why would
sounds
they
good.
need? Oh, oh, right.
Yeah.
That whole sleep thing.
Yeah, it's going to be a little different.
well, I can create a large enough den of protection that all of us can fit inside it comfortably.
Well, wonderful.
If that's
Yeah.
sufficient, that's sufficient.
It'll protect you better than a tent will.
Great.
All right. Shall we meet up with the others then?
Sounds like a plan.
Seems reasonable.
All right. You bid farewell to Erwin. Wave goodbye to Rudolph as he heads out of the building for the morning as well, and make your way through the city, past Saint Andrew's, and through the western gate of Valaki. Can quickly divert from the Svalak Road towards the Vistani encampment that is once again, or as you have seen, under the constant and vigilant watch of the remaining Dusk Elves, um, who see you and welcome you with camaraderie. Is there anything we can do for you this morning?
Yes, I believe we need to speak to uh, um, oh my God, my brain just shorted out. Starts with an A.
Uh-huh.
The gentleman that is in charge here.
Uh-huh.
Ag. Help me out here, somebody.
You're so close.
I'm looking. I can't find it. Let's try here. How about Aragal?
That's it. Oh my
Yep.
God.
Yep. I was gonna look over at Tyler to see if but I don't think Tyler takes notes. So
I thought I had his name written down somewhere. It's regardless. I will write it down.
Tyler, you don't take notes. And the only reason I'm surprised is because the amount of information you're able to recall without taking notes is very impressive.
Thank you.
I can't recall half of that information, and I do take notes. Of course, I can't read
can't
my own
usually
notes, but that's a
summon.
whole other issue.
I can't usually summon any knowledge from like nothing, but
Mm.
you know, once like I'm into it or someone brings up something, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. Hey,
Very easy
9
to
int
Mandela
character.
effect. Yeah, you you are brought up the hill towards the camp, where most of the Vistani who are here are still asleep, both in and out of tents around smoldering fires. Um, it is cold out here, but the people who are asleep outside are bundled pretty warm or are huddled pretty close to flames. No one's here at risk, but it is unusual. Um, uh, Aragol is roused uh, and says, "You were able to secure us what we asked for. Very impressed. We'll offer you an escort if that is what you're coming to reclaim."
Yes, that would be very helpful. Go ahead, Zezrak.
I I concur with Ari. I mean, it is what we are looking for, and we're grateful.
All right. Give me a minute. I am going to make someone else do it. And he goes back into his tent. You hear some uh, scuffling inside, and Aragol's bigger, younger brother, who you've met before, uh, stumbles out, pretty peeved that he's being told to do something. But he goes around and grabs a few other folks, gets a wagon uh, horsed and prepared, and then uh, comes, leans over all of you, and says, "Cart's ready."
Splendid, splendid.
All right. Luvash takes the reins. All five of you uh, can sit in the cart itself. Um, this is one of the covered wagons, but it is not a barrel cask wagon, so it's not like rounded and wooden. It is just a covered with canvas. Um, and then there are two others from the camp who ride with you, and then two others who walk beside.
I will ride Floof alongside the wagon.
All right. To the surprise and delight of everyone who has not yet seen this beast. I honestly, it's such a foreign and alien concept that every time people have to experience him, it's for you no longer strange, but it's just weird to conceptualize every time.
I just think to myself, but if only they knew that there was a giant orange and black striped cat caged up. That's really weird. No, he's friendly. You can pet him.
All of you head down the mountain into the valley, onto
Not you, Victor.
the
You'll get him
road.
dirty.
Onto the road, away from Valaki and into the woods. You are greeted by a pleasant morning, though chilly from the night. Promises to be a warmer day than the past few with its rain. Possibly even maybe drier. Who knows? You pass familiar diversions on your way. You see the road cut um, down farther into the valley towards where you know the old bone grinder mill is. You see some patches of greenery in copses of trees um, where prey animals scamper through in a rush, but not as if but unpursued. Um, you see distantly a very tall, decaying, but not so mortally wounded tower. Uh, not so poorly not so poorly held as the one you had seen before. In fact, altogether impressive for its apparent age. Um, Structure appears to the east some, that fades away into the mist. And within the day, moving a little bit slower by means of the wagon and the unharried attitude of the Vistani, uh, it takes pretty much your entire day to reach or at least half the day to reach the diverting point where you had encountered the scarecrows with Irina on your way up the mountain. Um, though this entire time, you are not only are you unaccosted, but those who spend their time listening do not find yourselves pursued or hunted or stalked. And such it continues for the next about hour or so as you turn uh, off the crossroads towards the riverbank, where you see more tents and hear the sounds of people speaking, laughing, uh, and working. A prettier map for you. As the camp comes into view, Luvash draws the cart to a halt um, and looks back at all of you within the wagon and says, "Out, walk."
Yeah, very well. Thanks for the ride.
Hmm. As you approach the camp, you see that there is one brightly colored patron of the encampment who is lackadaisically on watch off of this side of this rutted road, who only just notices you as you clang steel on steel your way closer to the embankment. Good afternoon.
Hello.
You're a unusual traveler. What you doing out here?
Well, we've come to speak with a Madame Eva. We've met with her before.
We've met with her Vistani before.
Their eyes go wide. Speak to Ava. Ooh. Are you here by invitation?
Yes.
Definitely.
Ah.
We spoke to a young girl named Damia.
Oh, oh, you found us. Oh, thank God. All right. Hey, hey. He turns around and says, "The folks you guys lost. They made it. They didn't die." Uh, and a few people, the elderly mage you'd spoken to before, uh, uh, and even Damia, that you recognize, perk to attention, and everyone just is like there's a like laugh of relief, like, oh, thank God. Stanimir, the old gentleman, um, hobbles his way over to you. Oh, I'm so relieved you made it. Oh, thank the gods. Oh, you don't look, all three of you, and some others, I see. Oh, very, very pleased to see you all here. Please, please, come inside. Come within. We'll bring you to Ava immediately. Someone, go tell Ava. And Dynamo gets up and runs towards this large tent over here. Need anything to drink? You've been out for a while. You've been surviving all right?
We've been doing well enough, but I think a drink would be appreciated.
You are past bottles and wooden wine bowls of some of that red dragon crush that some of I think only Arium so far has sampled.
Pretty good though, as far as wines in this place go that I have sampled.
Best we can get our hands on around here. Sometimes we're able to bring some stuff from the outside, but that requires people sell to us, and it's a hassle. Guys are given a moment to rest before Danima the halfling comes to you and says, "She'll see you now," and leads you towards the tent. Assuming you all go.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Shall follow.
Mm-hmm.
All right. She brings you to a very large red tent that inside is covered across its floor with carpets that are incredibly old, many of them quite dirty, and just layered and layered and layered with blankets, cushions, and in the center of the tent there is a caged fire that crackles with um, very bright yellow light. On the other side of it sits an old woman with embroidery. This woman looks ancient. um, she has few teeth remaining. One of her eyes is incredibly grayed with cataract, um, and uh, and her hands, though steady in her needlework, um, are the weathered and wrinkled, browned hands almost look like they are made of knobbled wood. Um, when you enter, her voice, just over like the sounds of the crackling fire, says, "Welcome, welcome. Please, have a seat."
You are Madam Ava, then?
That is what they call me. Yes.
You are the one who foresaw our arrival.
I bid it. Wish to know why you have been brought to Barovia. Is that right?
Well,
Yes, yes, that is quite right.
I have bid you come because I believe the three of you may be in a unique position that could aid
the lord of this land. Unlike any other trespassers in these woods, we have brought many people into Barovia with the hope that they would guide Master Zarovich, or aid him, or even slay him. None have been so fortunate as to make it past the battlements. I know this place. This place is my home. I would love to see it restored. I am not all-knowing, but the gods are, and it is to them I will turn, so that I may guide you the only way that I know how.
She puts down her needlework and retrieves from beside her a very, very old, beautiful gilded box, painted with the wood of it painted and stained dark red, and a crest of an eagle carved into its center. It almost looks familiar. She opens it and produces a very large stack of cards that she shuffles.
Go on. Take one.
She extends the deck to the three of you, bidding you each to draw.
Yep, I will draw.
As will I.
Yes.
Ariam, the card you draw is that of a peculiarly familiar figure. A sunken-eyed, sad, vengeful face, plated in armor, and carrying a sword.
This card tells of a powerful force for good and protection. A holy symbol of great hope you may find lying in a dragon's house, in hands that were once clean and have fallen, corrupted.
Zazarak, your card is a white mage, her hands clasped in prayer and white light emanating from her chest.
The healer. This card is of power and strength, and it tells of a weapon forged for vengeance, a sword made of sunlight. If you look to the west, you may find a pool blessed by the light of the white sun.
And Zeldrin, your card is dark, with a figure who is cloaked, hooded, not even their hands showing in their robes.
This card tells of history, knowledge. Knowledge of the ancient will help you better understand your enemy. You will face a faceless god who awaits you at the end of a long winding road deep in the mountains, who must be named.
she herself then draws 2 more cards and lays them up. See, one is not a figure, but just a swirling gray cloud, thick, heavy mist. And the second is a beautiful woman uh, who beckons with curled fingers. Pointing to the first, she says,
This card sheds light on one who will help you greatly in your crusade against the darkness.
her eyes, her brow furrows. You see her blink several times.
A Vistani who wanders this land alone. Unusual. Searching for her mentor. She will not tarry in any place for long. You should seek her near Saint Markovia's Abbey, near the mists. That is far, far away.
She looks at her next card and says,
You know that both your enemy, greatest challenge before you, a creature of darkness who has powers beyond mortality. This will lead you to him. A secret place, vault of temptation, hidden behind a woman of great beauty. The evil waits atop this tower of treasure. Find him amongst that he values most. Is there anything I can repeat or clarify?
The name that she said for the Vistani that wanders alone, she mentioned um it sounded like it was a place.
Yep.
Is something
Saint-
Abbey?
Saint Markovia's Abbey.
Okay. I'm assuming we have not heard this name at all prior to this.
Correct.
Okay.
She apparently does have some idea of what it is, though.
Yeah, I was trying to make sure that I wasn't just forgetting
Mhm.
something that we had been told. Um, we have been through two of the largest cities. Well, two of the cities of this place. Neither one has the abbey of which you speak. Where should we be? Where is it? We are to find this Vistani that you say is so crucial to our efforts.
City of Kresk.
Let me verify that that's correct.
village of Kresk is far to the north. It is built just above the abbey. And it is jumping between maps and maps. Follow the Svalak Road to the north, past Lake Baratok. Over the Raven River you will find Kresk in the mountains. Dress warmly. It's very cold.
And the figure you said was an ally? I believe you mentioned it during Zezerak's reading. You mentioned two figures, an enemy and an ally. Was that correct?
The two cards she has, the Mist and the Tempter, as she lists them, or as she calls them.
Your ally be sought in Saint Markovia's abbey. Your enemy, your greatest enemy, Stradvan Zarovich,
Hmm.
will wait for you, will hide from you within his treasury.
Well, I guess it's real important then that we find out what he values most.
She gives you a broken smile.
I know what it is he values most.
What would that be?
His success. He has found something in Barovia that he covets. Wishes.
In Barovia, the city, or this entire land of Barovia?
Her one eye twinkles. But she does not say anything else.
So yeah, I'll turn into Arium and Zeldrin. So yeah, I guess we need to find out what he values most.
Perhaps I am reading far too into things, but it would seem we might have an idea of a sort. Rudolph has mentioned that when he descends to feed, that there are not usually survivors. Entire families, bloodlines, he said, wiped out. And yet, um, and yet Arena has survived not just one, but multiple times. Is it possible that she has survived by his choice, by his design.
I think that is certainly likely.
Well, I mean, it does seem to make a fair amount of sense, but it doesn't make any sense with Madame Ava's prophecy. Find him amongst that which he values most. Well, if he values Irina most, we should find him amongst Irina? Find him amongst Irina's people?
I don't know, but all of a sudden it does feel as though um, having her on this trip with us might have put her in a certain amount of danger.
Well, I must say, if she is what Savage values most, well, then I don't think there's a place in this land she could go where she would not be in danger.
True, true, valid, good point.
Madam Ava, do you have a fortune for our two compatriots?
I might just.
She ushers them forward and uh, at first looks at both of them and then turns to do a single card reading for Victor, in which she briefly explains uh, that the powers he has meddled with are vast and touch every corner of Barovia. And if he is not careful, it will undo him entirely. To Irina, she does not draw any cards. She just stares at her, to the point where even in her propriety, Irina seems uncomfortable.
You look the same. Always been so lovely. I am sorry for the lot you have drawn in this life. I do not think I may read for you. As I already know. And if I were to know your future, I should be afraid to lose what remaining hope I have for this land.
Irina, for her part, her discomfort grows. She turns over her shoulder to look at the three of you with more than a little concern.
So it is your belief, Madam Ava, that the future of this land is tied directly to Irina's future?
It has always been. For hundreds and hundreds of years.
Wait,
How
Irina,
is that possible?
I know it's an implied question, Irina, but how old are you?
Not that old.
She looks very bothered.
I believe the inference here is, Irina, you are the reincarnation of someone very important.
I have seen this face many times. I have seen this face before the curse fell on Barovia.
Madam Ava, I have to ask. Rest assured that the duty of the uh, of my order compels me, along with my, well, I mean, compels me, and the moral compunction of my companions here compels them. That this thing you seek for Barovia to be safe again, it is in fact something to strive for, but uh, to strive to. Uh, but uh, what you have said that you do not see all, but um, something compelled you uh, to invoke the three of us to follow and bring us here and brought us here and then lost us here within Barovia when we arrived. Uh, what you have said that it is your hope that we can either convince Strahd or failing that to eliminate him, but uh, exactly what is it that you think we will accomplish here? I mean, it is a noble pursuit to return this realm's ruler to his kind and the to the kind and benevolent individual with whom you all interacted so very very long ago, it would seem. But after all that has been done, are you sure that such a rehabilitation is even possible for the lord of this land?
Her eyes close, and a solemn smile crosses her face. She says, as she adjusts the veil over her hair, she says,
I have known him for so long. The man I knew had little of benevolence, pride, and hurt. That he had in abundance. Conqueror and the force of this world. Wounded not by you, dear,
and her hand grasps Irina's in her lap.
but by a twist of the heart. A wrinkle in fate. I tell Vistani, my people, that there is salvation for their master, so that they may seek heroes. There's no other way to put it. Being that has become Count Strahd von Zarovich holds within his heart nothing except pride, and the only freedom that may be found for Barovians may be by his undoing. He'll seek you, each of you. Not you.
She looks at Victor.
But he will see that the three of you have a power to challenge him. He will entertain himself by exhausting you. Do not fall for such tricks. And you, my dear,
And she once again squeezes Irina's hands.
I cannot prevent what will happen to you. But take heart and pray that things will be swift. That we may find each other again.
Irina gently rests her hands from the old woman's grasp and clenches her jaw.
If he believes that we have the ability to challenge him to wrest control of this land from him, how how will he know who we are? Surely uh, there are enough people in this land that is he able to simply find us? Does he know where his other enemies are in this land?
She nods.
Some who may be clever may evade his gaze. But the very woods breathe for Strahd.
Well, we do have a new direction to go. We have a new target, this village of Cress. Wandering Vistani at St. Markovia's Abbey.
Yes. Uh, this is to be believed, then it most certainly sounds like we'll be headed north. It also sounds like, Irina, for your own protection, should probably plan on traveling with us for the foreseeable future.
She gives you a nod. The five of you depart.
I can't think of anything else to ask her right now.
Um, have have we discussed with Madame Eva about getting back to Faerun at some point?
We have not. Such a thing seems to be far more under control of Strahd, although I suppose he still allows the Vistani to travel in and out of this world. Although I do wonder if we were to attempt to sneak out within a Vistani caravan, if Strahd would perhaps seal the way.
Hmm.
That may be worth.
Well, and is it the expectation that we will correct the Stroud situation, and by doing so, open up the means of travel to Faerun for more than just a Vistani?
Well, Rudolph seemed to think so.
Well, Rudolph thought so if it was the fact that we ended Strahd. But Madame Ava here seems to believe there's more than one way to resolve the Strahd situation. Am I understanding that correct, Madame Ava?
I will maintain my hope.
But you just want whatever is afflicting him to be removed. And you want that to such a degree that even if the only way we can figure to remove it is to destroy Strahd, that you believe is an acceptable outcome.
She gives you a solemn nod.
Well, this must be some affliction. Are you talking about his vampirism? You believe that can be reversed?
I know little of the arcane. Perhaps it may be. I can only pray that it might be.
Oh. Well, I will send up a prayer to Madame Eva, but allow me to do a little amateur fortune telling. Um, that, unfortunately, is a prayer that is very unlikely to be answered.
Her thin lips smile. She picks up her embroidery again.
Yeah, I think turn and go.
All right. 5 of you step out of her tent. And I think, since I said we'd end about here, we'll end about here. You can figure out where you'd like to head next week.